You asked a question that hit me in my core. Tay, can you coach confidence? Can you coach confidence? And I went, ooh, that is one to explore.
What really causes us to be successful in life is the belief we have in ourselves.
Don't cast away your confidence because it has great recompense of reward. Hey, Ann.
Hey, Taydra.
Here we are. We are here for another episode.
Another episode.
Hasn't this been an amazing journey?
Amazing. I mean, wow is all I can say.
Yeah, I'm having such a good time.
Me too. And I have to say that we have to give a shout out in this episode to,
We like shout outs.
yes, our amazing, amazing crew who is making this happen, getting us on video and audio, Digital Dream Studios.
Digital Dream Studios.
Shout out. Thank you for being here. Thank you for making this amazing.
And don't we look, I mean,
Listen,
do you see this quality? Do you see this hi-fi? This is hi-fi. This is not lo-fi.
not lo-fi.
And we are here for it.
Yes.
We look good.
Yes.
We feel good.
Yes.
The conversations have been flowing, or the conversation is flowing. And I'm so excited to be doing this with you.
Oh, see.
So as we get into this episode, this is going to be a good one too. As we do, we talk often and we talk about a lot of things. And this topic came up as we were talking about the things that perhaps maybe within our sisterhood, Black sisters, women in the workplace may be facing. And we started talking about confidence. And you and I have had a lot of conversations about confidence over the years.
Yes, ma'am.
And so as we were talking, you asked a question that hit me in my core. We were talking and you said, I wonder, Tay, can you coach confidence? Can you coach confidence? And I went, that is one to explore.
Yes.
And there's a lot of conversations about confidence. We've talked about the systems and the structures, that we have had to operate in that were not designed for us. Those can steal or take away from or diminish our confidence. We've talked about the sisterhood.
Yeah.
And at times, because there is a scarcity mentality, or there can be a scarcity mentality, and we may tend to compete and compare.
Yes.
That may, eat away at our confidence. Even if we've not really come to terms with or figured out what to do with our origin story, like the good, the bad, the ugly. Like, where do you put it? And where do you get fuel from? And where do you transcend? That can eat away at our confidence as well. So there's lots of conversations that are happening around this thing around confidence. And I thought that as we started, we were talking about first, where does it originate from? What's the concept around where it originates? And I wanted you to share what you shared with me, and then let's get into it.
Okay. Well, it's funny because when we were talking, I was thinking about, like, you actually asked me a question of where I got my confidence from. And I started to think about it, and I created this in my mind, this framework of where I think there are probably 3 ways that we get confidence as human beings. And y'all don't think I'm not a psychologist or anything. This is just me thinking about it in my life experience. I think the first is data-driven. So, whether it's, we talk a lot about things where especially in today's world of social media, like you get one headline,
Right.
And then what do? You go Google, especially the salacious headlines. You
Yes.
go Google or whatever, search, and you try to find 4 or 5 other sources to make sure that this thing is true. That same thing can happen around data-driven, around experiences. So you've had an experience that has formed some data in your mind that if I do this, then this happens in some form or fashion. All of that is like a data-driven kind of concept. And we get confidence from that because we've gotten enough data that says this is true. The second way is we have an intrinsic belief about confidence. Like it comes from within us that we just naturally think we have this thing or this thing is going to happen or whatever it may be. So you pull it from inside of you. Now, some of that may have been informed over years of data and experience, but there's something inside of you that triggers confidence. And then the third way is, and you know this one because we've talked about it, external validation, where basically it's an atta girl. You know, you get the clap, the applause, the praise, you know, and that you did good. And so those things create confidence to say, okay, you've done well. And so depending on, and everybody uses these three different ways, but some may use them, dial up one, dial down one, kind of move through them differently. And so that's kind of the way that this happens. And so I think that, you know, how we use them and the times in which we use them is really important because we began to talk about external validation, and especially when you don't have the praise or the atta girl. And if you aren't getting that reinforcement from somewhere outside, how do you have confidence? And so if that's your heavily relied upon aspect of how you get confidence, that could create challenges, and especially in the corporate world.
Absolutely. And as you were talking, I started thinking about just my own confidence journey. And thinking about, you know, childhood, middle school, high school, and how I showed up then. Like, you know, and this is just my journey. This may be useful for someone. But I think about being a child and showing up and doing all the things that you're supposed to do. You know, you're showing up for class, you're reading, writing, arithmetic, right? And I was always good at those things. I was always one of a few in the class that sat in a bit more of an advanced, whatever they did to, you know, try to, help people at their level, meet people at their level. And then I think about going through middle school and high school and having lots of success, just being me, right? And again, doing the things that I was taught to do, doing the things that I was led to do, and doing the things that were in me to do. Things that and along the way, you certainly get reinforcement from people. Like I remember that I didn't grow up with organized athletics. Like I didn't play a lot of organized athletics. But then I think like in the 7th or 8th grade, I went to a basketball camp. I was living in San Diego for the summer, went to this basketball camp, and Cliff Levingston, who happened to be someone that played for the Atlanta Hawks, was doing this basketball camp. This is when your parents sent you to every single camp possible every week because they just needed you to be somewhere else
doing something under someone else's supervision.
Absolutely. Computer camp, basketball camp, tennis camps, whatever, all the camps. And I didn't have any interest in basketball, but I had to go to this camp because this was a part of the journey. And he said to me, "You should try out for the basketball team. Have you ever played basketball?" No. There was something he saw. And whatever it is that he saw, he spoke to that. And then I said, "Oh, okay. Well, I think I might have been in the 6th or 7th grade. I was like, when I get to wherever I'm going to get to, I'll try for the basketball team." I got to high school. I tried for the basketball team. I made it. I started on junior varsity and I played for 4 years and I made it to varsity. I was a number 2 shooting guard. My high is 21 points.
This is new information. This is new information. Yes, we need you on the Chicago Sky Court. What?
I might be a little bit short for the Chicago Sky Court and my skills.
Fair enough, but you know, but you had
you all may be able to, look at the current pool. I don't know how I would necessarily stack up against them today, but back in the day,
hey.
But my point is that it was a note. It was something that someone observed, and then there was a seed that was planted, and then you act on the seed, and so going through high school, even through college, just doing and being, who you are. And then I think at some point I started to run into, places, people, challenges that that challenged what was in me.
Yeah.
And things that had been easy for me maybe weren't so easy for me, or new. We talked about the vocabulary and new things that you had to learn.
Yes.
Or the fact that I walked into, P&G as an ENFP and everyone else was an ISTJ. Even some of those things can start to eat a little bit away at, am I all right? Am I all right? And so at some point, I can admit that I started to have challenges with really responding mostly to external validation and responding to the applause and responding to, when someone said, you did well there. And that becoming something that was a little bit of fuel for me. And so when you sit in these corporate spaces and you are an external validation person, then if you don't get the external validation, then your confidence begins to diminish. And your perspective can shift that, it's about this one set of criteria or this one set of thing versus the stuff that's in me is what got me here.
Right.
What's in me is the reason that I made it to P&G. What's in me is the reason that I made it to a L'Oreal. What's in me is the reason that I was able to create my own business. But that concept that you talk about somewhere along the way, and I don't know if it was the learned behavior from people that were in my context. I don't know if it was the situations and circumstances that I just found myself up against, but I started to lean much more into the external validation and needing for someone else to say, you did a good job. Now, here's what's so crazy about that. As I was doing that, I was still making all my own decisions. I was still charting my own course. I still decided when I was leaving and which company I was going to, even though it said, people were like, you're not supposed to do that. So I'm living these parallel lives. I'm living this duality in my head and in my heart.
Yeah.
And working to ensure that I could, build myself and not minimize the impact, not minimize what I brought to the table, not minimize not just the accomplishments, but the potential. Right? Or wherever you are and then whatever's going to come next. And you and I had a lot of discussions about, because at different moments, at different inflection points, it's important that you don't take just the negative from an experience and adopt that from a perspective of shame.
Yes.
Right? We all walk through these experiences where we learn, we grow, we get better, we move on.
Yes.
And if you operate, my bishop in New Jersey always used to talk about morbid regret. If you operate from this place of morbid regret where it's very difficult to let go of maybe the things that didn't go the way that you thought. And that comes from a place of being a perfectionist. In the spirit, in some circles from a spiritual standpoint, people might say it's rooted in pride. But if you are not able to let go of that regret, then you carry that shame into the next situation. And now you're looking for someone to validate you because you're operating from a place of shame instead of standing in, the fullness of who you are. So that's an incredible lesson that I've had to learn. That when you move, whatever the transition might be, life is filled with swift transitions.
And that part, yes.
So whatever the transition may be, as we transition, we grow and we get better. And it's really important that we don't allow shame to be the thing that that is the loudest voice that's speaking, because then we get trapped in this low confidence cycle, and it can be a cycle that can be hard to break.
Yeah, I mean, it is so. This whole thing, and what made me ask this question originally was, at what point is confidence in us?
In us. Mm-hmm.
And at what points do we lose that confidence, or does that confidence shift either up or down, such that, the confidence is very, I don't know, it's not on as solid a ground as it once was. Yeah. And I think that the question around that is really, really powerful, because we all have, to your point, we all have these moments in our lives, and definitely in our careers, that, are confidence builders, and ones that are going to be confidence, I don't know, retractors, if you will. Shakers. Yes, that's it. And so, but the thing that I always think about is, at the end of the day, every experience is just an experience. It's just an experience. And what doesn't change is who we are, fundamentally who we are, and the gifts that we've been given. Because everything, and I'm not going to go too spiritual here, because I'm going to leave that for you. But one thing I do believe in, how I think about faith, is we've been given everything we need to be who we are.
Absolutely.
And what you're given versus what I'm given is different. That's not the point.
Right.
The point is, we've been given what we need to be who we are in this world, and to do the things that we need to do.
Yeah.
And I think that, when I think back to, it's funny because we often go back to, when did we get to be confident in our lives? So even when you talked about it, and it's funny because if you think about childhood, so when we're 0 to 5-ish, okay, there's no magic to the 5, but those early years, we're sort of confident, but like we're learning to walk. We're wobbling. We're not so confident that we're not going to fall down on the floor. Right. We're learning to talk. We're not so confident that we're able to communicate and be able to. So there's a point in our lives where we're not as confident. We're not confident that our mom or our father, our mother or father, are going to be around. So we might have tendencies to cling on to them because we're not confident that they're not going to be there the next day. Different children have different things. But then you kind of get in this point where you're like, okay, now I figured out those like basic things in life. And now I'm just going to go be a child and kind of almost have this childlike wonder of the world where really nothing holds us back. And so oftentimes in interviews, like when I'm interviewing people for jobs, I ask them a question, because this gets me to like who they are and where they were. I say, when you were about 5 years old, and again, it's not magic at 5, but 5, 6, kind of right after that phase that I was just talking about, what did you love to do? And the reason that I ask that question is because it often illuminates for me people's most natural desires, passions, gifts, confidence, the things they were most confident in, because that's what they chose to do at the age of 5 years old. Yeah. And so for me, that is a real telltale age where we're kind of out in the world and we have no inhibitions, so to speak. And we haven't let everybody's judgments or their filters or their assessments or their praise even, for that matter, fully create our own vision of who we are. We're just out there doing it. And so for me, I think we build that early on in our lives, but then somewhere along the way, to your point, we allow little bites at the apple to take it away. And I think the power for us is to be able to go back to that and remember that. So in those moments where we are, we have questions about, oh, did I do a good job on this project? Am I doing a great job in my job? Do people think I'm doing a good job? Yes, you're going to need some of that, because there are people that are going to make decisions about whether you should get promoted or whether you should retain the role that you have. But all of that is that's just the backdrop of life. What really causes us to be successful in life is the belief we have in ourselves. Because, by the way, all of that stuff of whether somebody gives us the atta girl or whatever, as I said before, is outside of our control.
Very much so.
We cannot control. Like, I can't control if you tell me I look good in this outfit.
Right.
You may say that. You may not say that.
Right.
okay, do I think I look good in this outfit? That's all that matters.
You look good in this outfit.
Thank you, sis. Thank you.
Good.
Thanks, Tay. I appreciate you. But the point is,
Yeah.
I don't know that that's going to come to me.
Sure.
And if I sit and wait for it, then I'm going to sit and wait my whole life, waiting for some confidence to say, oh, I did something that is worthy of praise.
Yeah. But I think I love what you're saying. I also think, this is one of those conversations that really does go back to childhood, how you're reared, and what is poured into you.
Yes.
And as I think about maybe some of the experiences that I had, again, I had a loving mother. I was raised in a single parent household. But my father was in California. I lived with him a few years and had a community of people that were about excellence and that I could look to.
Yeah.
But I also do remember some of the stories that were probably harder for me to let go. And when I think about the structure of those stories, I think about Taydra, you would be so much more X if you just did Y. You'd be so much more beautiful if you just lost weight. You'd be so much more loved if you just did this. You'd be so much better here if you just did this.
You are not enough.
You are not enough. And when you hear those stories, and again, I don't think that anyone who was in my orbit meant any harm.
Yeah.
But sometimes even our grandparents, I remember I could walk into the house and I would know if my weight was okay.
Yeah.
The way that my grandmother,
are you eating enough?
Like,
did you eat enough?
So are you eating too much?
Either one. Either one. We don't have them both.
Or when I got my hair cut and my grandmother was like, have you lost your entire mind?
Yeah.
But
because it's not going to grow back. Like rush is gone. It's
long
gone.
hair was the standard.
Yeah.
But when you hear those stories of, oh, you would just be more this if more
If
that,
you did that,
that can become the mark.
Yeah.
The mark can become, oh, if I can just get here, then I'll be good.
Yeah.
Then I'll be enough.
Yeah.
Then I'll be accepted, loved, beautiful, sufficient, whatever it might be.
The stories that we tell ourselves.
And if that story line continues to play in your head, it moves from those childhood conversations into adult conversations. If I could just get the next title, then if I can just land this next job, if I can just get this promotion, if I can just, and all of that is to demonstrate, because if that's the storyline that you grabbed onto, or that you started to hold on to, or that was anchored in you, that's the work that then has to be undone.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because again, what's in you is what got you where you are. But that striving, that constancy of striving, can become the framework that you use. And for me, I know it's something I've had to work through, the framework of, no, it's not if I just do. And I think even as, Black women, mothers, there's always this thing where we have to be doing. We have to be, we wear busy as a badge.
Yes.
We wear it as a badge of honor.
Booked and busy.
Booked and busy. But there's been a conditioning that if you're not doing, then there's something that's wrong, right? You're not up to par. And so I think all of that has the ability to affect your confidence. And so understanding those childhood stories, those stories that either you were told by, people, the stories you learned from your context, the filter that we've talked about a lot. What is your confidence filter? And make sure that filter gets cleaned.
Yeah.
Because what's in you is 100% what you need.
I 100% agree. I'm 100%. And the only reason I choose kind of age 5 is because most of us cannot remember much before age 5. Age 5, I agree with you, is when those memories start to form, and those things that people tell us, those cues, those words, those actions that tell us we're on track, off track, confidence builders. So I think that's the reason I choose age 5, because I don't Do you remember much before age 5? I mean, maybe we have one memory.
I don't know. 5, 6, 7, 8. It's kind of all.
Yeah, all mixed up.
That's all.
But most people I've talked to is before age 5, we don't remember most of it.
Yeah.
And so that age 5, when you were out doing those things, that's when you started to get the responses that started to create, okay, I'm out climbing trees.
Yeah.
You're a girl. You don't need to be climbing trees.
Yeah.
Or, I want to be a dancer. Dancers don't make no money.
Right.
Or, whatever the story is that our well-intended, loving parents, family, friends, society intended for us, most of it not malicious, but leave us with impressions. Yeah. It's why many of us don't pursue our passions, especially those who are creative.
Yeah.
Arts, any of that, because somewhere somebody told us, music, especially in the Black community, somebody told us, you ain't gonna be able to pay for yourself to live. Right. How you gonna live?
Right. How you gonna make a living?
How you gonna make a living?
How you gonna make a living?
And so we kill people's dreams and their desires and their gifts even through that process, which then makes them less confident. Because, by the way, I'm confident in my artistic ability, or I'm confident in my musical talent. Yeah. But I got to go over here and go work at this corporate job because y'all told me I wasn't going to make a living.
Right.
And I'm confident that I can make a living over here.
Yeah.
So I think all of those things play into even decisions we make in our lives. And so I think this idea around, even back to, can you coach confidence? I don't know the answer to this yet, because I think if there is to be a coach of confidence, it has to be us ourselves. One thing I have over the years, all the mentorship I've done, I don't know that I've ever had success coaching someone to be confident foundationally. Yes. Maybe situationally, but not foundationally.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are in search of, because if you think about just the world that we find ourselves in, affirmations and, the things that we speak over ourselves, and people are looking for something to anchor themselves that bolsters either their self-perception, bolsters that innate confidence. And I'm not sure if it can be taught or not. I know that there are a lot of people that are doing great work. I want to give a shout out to KJ Rose, who has Confidence Con. She's one of my sorority sisters.
KJ.
And she's a performance coach, and she helps people show up as their best. So, but I don't know the answer. But here's the thing that I want us to consider as I know we are going to be wrapping up. And I talked to you about this. Yeah. And because of you mentioned earlier, I'm gonna leave the spiritual stuff to you. Yeah, you don't just have to leave it all to me.
I won't leave it all to you. I'm just saying I don't know, but I know you.
But absolutely,
that is your calling.
Absolutely, and I appreciate so much the model that my mother showed me, that she was able to operate at the intersection of business and faith. Yeah, like when there were, companies that were saying, you couldn't talk about your faith, and that was outside of the corporate construct. Yeah. My mom at the time, when Xerox was going through a lot of changes and restructure, I remember she would pray for people and she would cover people. And she taught me that you can't have intersection of, of faith and corporate, if you will. And so as I was thinking about this, I was like, being a person of faith, how do I think about confidence from a faith perspective? Yeah. And the Bible says, don't cast away your confidence because it has great recompense of reward. Everyone is given a measure of faith. We're given a measure of confidence. And it comes from all the places that you talked about, the experiences, et cetera. But what we do with the confidence is our agency. Yes. So if you put your confidence in external validation, you've moved your agency into that place of external. If you put your confidence solely in data, et cetera, then everything has to be proven in order for you to move forward. And even if you put your confidence solely just in you without maybe the thought of a higher spiritual being, at least for me, then it just becomes reliant upon just me. Yeah. But don't cast away your confidence. You've been given a measure of confidence. So how we steward that confidence is so important. And I think it's important that it lands in the data to some degree. It lands intrinsically. It lands in what God has given us. And whatever the validation is, that validation either needs to come from him or from you or from that thing that he's given you, but not from the people that are the ones that have no consequence, when it comes to your life or your existence. I remember having a conversation with you and I was talking about not doing something because of people. And you were like, first of all,
Who are the people?
That was the first question. And you were like, second of all, nobody's thinking about you that much. Like you,
I did say
you
that.
were like, no, you are worried about people and no one is thinking about you that much. So whatever you're going to do it. And I think the other thing you said was, I don't like to have these conversations multiple times, so we don't need to talk about this too. I did so bad. I was like, we don't need to talk about this too many more times. I need you to know you didn't.
I did, but I would talk about it as many times as needed.
In love. So all of this, need for external validation. People are trying to figure out what they have going on. People are worried about what's in front of them.
Yes.
But God has given us each a measure of faith, and it's up to us what we do with it. And what we do with it can produce great fruit and great results and great reward.
I love that. I love everything about that. And the only thing I would add as we wrap is at the end of the day, confidence, however you get it, but let's just talk about the intrinsic confidence, is what allows us to make great leaps in our lives.
Absolutely.
And you know that I'm a leaper.
You are.
I will take a leap into something. You will ask me a question. You'll be like, now, how did you do that? What? Wait, how did you get from that to that?
Yep.
And I'll be like, because it presented itself, and I'm leaping into it. I didn't know anything about being a sports team owner before I became one. Not a single thing. I played high school basketball too, but that was a long way in the past. But I didn't know anything about being a sports team owner. But I said, you know what? I'm confident enough that I know enough about business. I know about life. This is something I'm passionate about sport. I'm passionate about women in sport. Why not? Why not? Why not take the leap? And so I would say to all of you who have been watching us and listening to our various episodes, if you're on that cusp of taking a leap to do something, whatever it may be, take it.
Take the leap.
Do it. Don't wait for somebody to give you the thumbs up, the permission, the atta girl, whatever it is. Take that leap because life doesn't wait on anybody. And we're all in these situations, and whether you're in a corporation and you're sitting there and you're like, I'm unhappy. I can't tell you how many people I've had a conversation with over the years, and they wanted me to tell them how to be successful in their environment. And after about 10 minutes in the conversation, I realized you should not be in this environment. And I said, I know you didn't come for me to tell you this, but have you thought about a change? Have you thought about leaping somewhere else? Because where you are is draining you. It's taking from you. It's not giving to you. It's not calling you. And so I'm sure there's a lot of companies out there for whom they've had some attrition of some people because I've coached them, including ones that I've worked for right away. I had a wonderful intern at Coca-Cola. She's amazing. Erica Lewis, shout out to her. And she came to meet with me. And I said to her, says, you have this passion for music and for artistic type things. Why are you at Coca-Cola? And she went on to be wildly successful in this world. And now, has a career in a bunch of different places and has had it. But I was like, if this is what you really want to do, go do it. Because there's a path for you. There's a career path for you. So for me, this is about orchestrating and being intentional about your life. And whatever that is inside of you that's calling you, that's your inner confidence that says, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. And so, Taydra, when we talk about you and what you're supposed to be doing at any given point in time, we've talked about it. And it all circles back to a common theme, like your love for women of color.
Absolutely.
Beauty. Like we can name them. We can name them right here on this set.
All the things.
And even in moments where you're like, I'm going to consider this, I was like, you should, I mean, that's certainly an option. But is that calling
This
you?
is what you love.
But this is what you love.
Yeah.
Let me remind you of what you love.
Yeah. Yeah.
And how amazing you are at what you do. Like, and so that you are an icon. Like, I don't know if you know that. I just have to say that on this set. Like, you are an icon in beauty. And in beauty for Black women in particular, you have made us seen where we have not been seen before through the stuff that you've done.
You doing it on purpose.
I really am not trying to make nobody cry. I promise. I promise.
I have my tissue, but I'm not gonna cry.
Okay, we're not gonna cry, but I want you to know that. And I said that when you got your award.
You did.
But I'm saying it on this
did.
podcast
You did.
because I want everybody to know. And this is the moment where I say to you, you got this. You know this. So that's all I'm gonna say. I had to leave this with you.
You know I cannot allow us to rap, and you have said that to me, and me not say to you, just thank you. Thank you for being the example of what's possible. Thank you for being the one that shows us the way. Thank you for being the one that pours into us. You have shown, you have broken barriers, and you do it so quietly.
Oh, Lord, we're both about to cry now.
You do it so quietly. You just move into new spaces, and then I get a phone call. Well, Tay, I just need you to do a reference for me, a personal reference. Someone might be giving you a call. Oh, someone from the WNBA. Oh, okay, that's what we're doing now. Tay, I think I might buy a mansion. Oh, okay. just buy mansions, okay. But you have, you are just the epitome. You really are.
Thanks.
And we gushed about you over dinner. I gush about you all the time. You know how I feel about you. And I'm just so glad that we are on this journey together. But I just want to say thank you for being you.
And the same to you.
Thank you for being
There's nobody I'd rather be doing this with.
So look at there. We finished. I got my tissue, but I didn't cry.
We didn't cry.
Okay, so before we go, we said that we were going to end this episode with a shoe cam.
All right.
Do you remember?
I do remember.
So now that we have gotten our tissue and we have not cried, we're going to do our little shoe cam so you can see the fashion.
Thanks to our fashionistas behind the scenes.
Our incredible fashionistas. Okay, I got to do my shoe. Okay, let me do mine this way.
So look, these little mohair. I don't know what they are.
Gorgeous.
Listen, they are giving hair.
What kind of gold is this? Platinum gold? Yes.
I mean, it's fabulous gold. It's gold. It's regal gold.
Yeah.
Fit for a queen.
So there you go. We have had fun. I love you.
Love you too.
All right. We'll see y'all next time.
Bye, y'all.